Today, we're diving into something that every single health and care professional has to navigate every single day. We're talking about the invisible line of professionalism. And this isn't about your clinical skills, it's about your conduct. It's about how one tiny misstep can have massive consequences. Just picture this. Your phone buzzes. It's a friend request from a patient you just discharged. Or maybe you're at home after a brutal shift and you fire off a quick, frustrated message to some colleagues in what you think is a private chat. Or the next day, you try to break the tension with a joke and suddenly, crickets. The whole room just goes silent. These are not just hypotheticals, right? They are the very real, everyday tightropes that you have to walk. One little lapse in judgment, one wrong move, and suddenly your career, your registration, could be in real jeopardy. So, that brings us to the big question for this entire explainer. Where exactly is that line? Let's figure it out together. Okay, so to find the line, we first have to understand the landscape. And that starts with this word we hear all the time, professionalism. It's so much more than just a buzzword. And as we've learned from research with students and educators, what it actually means is way more personal and complex than you might think. You know, this quote from a paramedic educator really gets the absolute heart of it. Professionalism isn't some uniform you just put on when you clock in. No, it's rooted in something way deeper. It's about your core values, your fundamental sense of what it means to be a decent human being. It's something you bring to the job, not just something you learn for the job. But, and this is a big but, it's not only about what's on the inside. As this podiatry student points out, perception is everything. Professionalism is also about how you are seen. Your appearance, the state of your uniform, your equipment, all of it sends a powerful message. It can build trust or shatter it before you've even said a single word. So if we put it all together, here's the key takeaway. Professionalism is what's called a holistic construct. Basically, it's not a simple checklist you can tick off. It's this dynamic mix of everything: your skills, your attitude, how you communicate, how you look, and those deep down personal values. And here's the kicker. It's all interpreted based on the specific context. What works in a loud, chaotic emergency department is totally different from what's expected in a quiet, one-on-one consultation. All right, let's put this to the test. Time for our first question. Thinking about where our ideas of professionalism come from, which of these is not a primary source? Is it A, role models, B, the media, C, our innate personal values, or D, a friend's opinion? Have a quick think. And the answer is D, a friend's opinion. Now, of course, friends are important for support, but research shows our actual professional identity gets built from much bigger influences. We're talking about our formal education, the role models we see in practice, our own personal background, and yet, even the way our jobs are portrayed in the media. So, if professionalism is this really complex, personal thing, how on earth do we create a standard that works for everyone? Well, that's where the Health and Care Professionals Council, or the HCPC, comes into play. You can think of their standards as the official rules of the road, the framework that helps us all define that invisible line. Now, the HCPC lays out 10 core standards. They cover the whole spectrum. You've got the absolute fundamental duty to protect service users. Then there are practical things like managing risk and keeping good records. But they also get into those crucial ethical duties, like being open and honest when things go wrong, and of course, always being trustworthy. And listen, these standards aren't just a random list of rules. They are the ethical bedrock of your profession. They do two really important things. First, they let the public know exactly what they should expect from you. And second, they are the precise framework the HCPC uses when they have to assess any concerns.
They are your guide, but they're also your benchmark.
Okay, so knowing the rules of the road is one thing, but trying to apply them on a foggy night at a confusing intersection, that's a whole different ballgame. So now we're getting into the really interesting part, the gray areas. Those modern, real-world situations where that invisible line gets super blurry. At the very heart of so many professional challenges is this constant tension between professional and personal boundaries. I mean, on one hand, you have to maintain a certain professional distance, right? To be objective and to keep that trust. But on the other hand, building rapport, that human connection, is absolutely essential for good care. The HCPC is crystal clear that this rapport can never, ever cross over into a personal, sexual, emotional, or financial relationship. And let's be honest, in our world today, nothing blurs those lines faster than social media. This quote from a student just captures the modern dilemma perfectly. A patient doesn't just see you in your professional setting anymore. They can see your vacation photos, meet your family online. Like the student says, there's got to be a line drawn. But where do you draw it when your personal life is potentially accessible 24/7? This is a challenge that earlier generations of professionals just never had to think about. So that brings us to a really direct and important question. True or false? Your responsibility for professional communication applies only to your face-to-face interactions at work, not to what you post on your personal social media accounts. And the answer is a huge, unambiguous false. HCPC Standard 2.12 couldn't be clearer. It says you must use social media responsibly, which includes maintaining professional boundaries and protecting service user privacy at all times. The big takeaway here is that the invisible line doesn't just vanish when you log on to Facebook or Instagram. Your professional identity is always with you. So what happens when that line does get crossed and a formal concern is raised? I know this can be one of the most stressful things a professional can go through. So let's take a moment to pull back the curtain and demystify the HPCC's fitness to practice process. When a concern comes in, it's not an automatic trip to a hearing. It's actually a step-by-step process. First, the HCPC gets the concern, and they have to figure out if it's even something they have the power to investigate. If it meets their threshold, then a formal investigation starts to gather all the information. After that, a panel looks at everything to decide if there is a case to answer, and only then, if there is a case, does it move on to a full hearing. Now, it's really important to understand the why behind all this. So, what do you think is the primary goal of the fitness to practice process? Is it A, to punish the professional, B, to protect the public, C, to compensate the patient, or D, to name and shame registrants?
The answer, and this is so important, is B, to protect the public. The entire system is built around public safety. The goal is absolutely not to punish people. It's to make sure that a professional has the right skills, knowledge, character, and health to do their job safely and effectively. It's really about maintaining public trust in the profession as a whole.
Okay, next question, this time on a really core ethical principle. When something goes wrong with a patient's care, Standard 8 says you have to be open and honest about it. What is this professional duty called? Is it the A, duty of care, B, duty of candor, C, duty to report, or D, duty of conduct? The correct answer is B, the duty of candor. And this is a true cornerstone of modern practice. It's not just about not covering up your mistakes. It's an active duty. It means you have to inform the service user, give them a full explanation of what happened, tell them what you're doing to fix it, and, crucially, offer a genuine apology. You know, navigating all of this complex stuff isn't about being scared of making a mistake. It's actually about empowerment. So this last part of our explainer is all about how you can take charge, how you can proactively own your professional growth and stay confidently on the right side of that invisible line.
So, how do you do it? Well, here are 4 key pillars. First, make reflection a regular habit. Just taking time to think about your day, what went well, what didn't, and why, is so important for learning. Second, get stuck into continuing professional development, or CPD, to keep your skills sharp. Third, don't just wait for feedback. Go out and ask for it, from colleagues, mentors, even patients, and then actually use it. And finally, be brutally honest with yourself about your limits. Knowing when to ask for help isn't a weakness, it's a huge professional strength. All right, one last question for you. This one's about CPD. To meet the HCPC standards for continuing professional development, what do you have to do? Is it A, complete 35 hours of formal courses every year? B, only do activities that teach new clinical skills? C, carry out at least 2 different types of learning activity? Or D, read 1 academic journal per month?
The answer is C. And this is great because the HCPC's approach to CPD is really flexible. They don't have a rigid rule about hours or tell you exactly what to do. The main thing they require is that you engage in a mix of learning, at least 2 different kinds of activities. So yeah, that could be a course, but it could also be work-based learning, mentoring, reading articles, pretty much anything, as long as you can show how it's actually improving your practice. So, as we wrap all this up, let's just nail down the top takeaways. Number 1, professionalism is personal and it's complex. It's way more than just rules, it's your values in action. Number 2, think of the HCPC standards as your map, not a rulebook. Use them to help you navigate those tricky situations. Number 3, that line, it extends online. Your professional identity is with you 24/7. And finally, number 4, staying on the right side of that line is a proactive job. It's all about continuous reflection and learning. I want to leave you with one final thought. Professionalism isn't a destination you arrive at. It's a practice, something you do every single day. So my question to you is this. After everything we've talked about today, what is the one thing about your own professional practice that you're going to take a moment to reflect on this week?